not easy to secure a job in Namibia, where the youth unemployment rate is almost at 50%. In 2022, Namibia's government paper, The New Era, reported that the demographic most affected by unemployment is young Black women. In January, Walvis Bay resident Fabiola Zondjembo ended her life by drowning. Just a few hours earlier, she had gotten fired from her job as a cashier. Her local community in Walvis Bay, including her family and former colleagues, demand justice for Fabiola. They claim abuse and mistreatment at Shoprite, Africa's largest retail chain, as a culprit in Fabiola's death. The majority of Shoprite workers are employed as casual workers, who the company refers to as PPPs, permanent part-timers. Most of them are women.
ulinga peshi no to kwasele na customer auto smile pa ife customer tandi smile naye sashondaza mu office amuyanda geiso smile with a customer. How can I smile with a customer in English? It's not fair. Ngo to arulima liwa ivure no mino mwana naye mukara mwenye to arulima liwa makesho hamono maiko 400 and 500. It's not easy. Makesho takalina ronga ucho takalinaje maro kuli poposhi marwampa.
Shoprite Holdings is a multinational conglomerate made up of over 3,000 stores in Africa. The group's history of worker exploitation is just as extensive as its spread across the continent. Fabiola worked at a Shoprite supermarket for 2 years. Outside work, she often spent time with her sister Isabella, who remembers her by her traditional name, Unomasa, meaning God is powerful.
Buranje mai 2018 mamanje oshadapo Unomasa hanje urimo hongo unesa ombranje 2018 anjo arombe slena yo skole mo klasa warombe slena yo skole ogusha afo kuyenda kupita moyo kerihonga pokupita corona yutu amuno bingura mo Shoprite omangura.
The family has been seeking justice and clarity for the events that led to Fabiola's demise.
Fabiola twari pamwe panganda. Ngina ri panganda enjira kusha. Rumbiranje. O etet mo Shoprite tungura shino do slave. Momnamo kamuno rufuvo ovanasho ovakaindu ovanene veriro maho de vera omukandu ngurira kombando vandu andu veriro maho ngambo Unomasa warino ka no kana kena kukashangiro Fabiola kanango katekere okanango shigateka Fabiola oshaya ko mukaindungo shaya ko mukaindu akapuro mukadindu kusha okanaka nje kateka kakeno kuhanda mebango kanakarwe omukandu muramba mu office muganje muramba mu office murashani yapita oja ebara ro Fabiola kanake watu mukotonja tu chapa monja tu omukandu mapura kusha ya Fabiola kana kwa keri pri Fabiola sani kana kanje konga ngwa shikeri ko nangu Fabiola kumura sani okana kanje kateka kakeno kuhanda ogusha Fabiola mura sani amimbari mo office abe mbe kuraire ushakana kakeno kuhanda opumba kufa monja tu utopenda ko hearing.
Even though a hearing was scheduled, the managers, whose job appears to be making workers' lives hell, punished Fabiola until her last day.
Fabiola kwalinga onironga pamwe natse paye hapakere komeho tontu munga Fabiola ndokatereje shike ndokatereje okatoroli ka custom ka Fabiola taitagaru ite kuya mukura nayi shija de Fabiola komeho kwa kakuswa kotaka akakale ko kakandina takakiri ningunjugo Fabiola komeho ihende kwa nisigota tuzimbuka Fabiola eja ko kakandina afaro ntwina harikira pantunge cha Fabiola kuzapo netse takalimbirirwane Fabiola kwetu shocking na imostora mpa ifo tunwe kumbada namike twabona nando kwetu atula ko kakandina uniwe ke kumbada mostora mwino natumanguruka aholike
Unomasa pito umulaste mo Shoprite akashwa shangaru kebi kwanganda odo taxi anje dai kapeno mundu penje omundu ngwa kaunjana ngandisha kamuno taxi mushitava uza pari we last ubende last ndo watu ninongole kushani nge kushango mbapira ye okushani wapiti mo viungura nime kuskomaka opleka ye petwa po odonjato deno bikwa no mpakiwe ubando Fabiola ndaire robina bihenda mbiaka ungure obingura mbiaka manene osinache tuihamisa noho onde gusha omundu wetu shiri wakaonje kudhako komnaka kaonja no kuhino dhongaku no kuhino dhombanda wakawira mo muronga kumatoa kupura kushani embo malaste yo mundu uyo mukaendu no mwangu banje bubaka nene kwa namba bashire
nana tango epuko hatulianje po bakulunwa abo bombada ngashi tudi ova kulunwa abadi ko South Africa tave abatalero fitolano kuja ova neilongo tabalongo nana ngali paive esho vanunga shingaha nana tatulamo ekanga no kuja omenenja na bajemo inabahala kukufa mo menenja abo milonga mashita bakonjifa be ba transfer ke $10 dimwe mwai omovala be bakufe ove batuleme $10 kwa okay cheka sa nojo te batumineke $10 kwa kisheka ntule polo mpuntu okutavai nako kuno banu beno mwenye betufu yambe
ngabena ndukale wina milonga kona kuchoto tilombwela livi toilombwele liye milonga tiengo numene njawe kunana lo problema nave kena fikwe kupo chance upopse naye kucha munji nubzakatuono nina nduka no problema kucha ako tushono beja toka lombwela jini.
The Shoprite Group was founded in 1979 during the apartheid years in South Africa. In 2016, Forbes counted Christoffel Wiese, the man who stayed at its helm for 41 years, amongst the world's wealthiest people, with a mass fortune of $5.8 billion.
We celebrated independence from what we call the apartheid regime. We thought as young people of this country, the fruits of independence would be jobs. We thought the fruits of this country would not be poverty, but prosperity.
Oh, yes.
We thought as young people of this country would have access to free quality education. 33 years after independence, none of us can say we have any of those things.
The tracks for racist labor exploitation on Namibian soil were laid before South African apartheid. Before that, Namibia was a German colony, where the Germans enforced settler colonial rule through a genocide. The Germans placed thousands of Nama and Ova Herero in concentration camps and condemned them to racist and sexist slave labor amidst atrocious human rights violation. It was those tracks that facilitated white South African settler rule in Namibia, which helped cement modern-day injustices across racial lines. Today, Namibia, as a direct result of colonialism and apartheid, trails right behind South Africa as one of the most unequal countries in the world. Namibia also has the 4th highest suicide rate in Africa, a factor significantly impacted by the country's economic situation.
Amma complaina hongano mukando Shoprite. Mukando Shoprite usha obana sibendu kwa sarine. Kaberi hodo makeup. Kabe munika nawa.
Apparently, I must make myself beautiful first for me to be a permanent. If it's not only me, I don't like makeup. It's why they used to force me to put makeup. But makeup is not my favorite.
Shoprite's labor violations are not restricted to Walvis Bay. Over the years, workers across the country have resisted them, also scoring significant victories with assistance by Nixon Marcus Public Law Firm. In Windhoek, we caught up with Elsie Ashipala, a labor activist who supported the workers' struggle in the capital.
So I don't really see that Shoprite has really changed. In today's world, they are just using the term independent, but then they are still being colonized. But this time, actually, it's not only the whites. The whites are colonizing us, but indirectly, using our own people to colonize us.
Again, Club comes to Parliament and tells us he's going to send 2,800 unemployed young people to the correctional sector so that they can be employed as security officials, so that they can be employed as police officers. What about those that have studied to be lawyers? What about those that have studied to be educators in this country? What about those that have studied to be nurses in this country? What about those young people?
Orishe bari matu celebrate independence ya Namibia. Shime prashani independence oye wakutuka kune wakutuka kwete tengunda maturiri katwa muno mbatero munde atu celebrate kushani a hero mamara kutuka ufapelo I thought them brother then or sister mo Shoprite o freedom manje munde ka ya ko brother then or sister then hongamba oba kwa ngunde mai para ko hearinga oba kwa munde beri mo kufaywa oshina matungura bimo shina shipo matubaterwa bimo shina shishani oba kwetu mberi mo Shoprite au shina shi stop matubaterwa bi.
A peaceful youth protest against unemployment that was scheduled for Namibia's 33rd independence was shut down by the police, who also jailed the organizers.
Yes, we have to disperse. Yes, and should you not disperse, yes, we as the law enforcement agents, we are going to take necessary steps to make sure that this demonstration does not go ahead. Yes. So, having said that, yes, we will only give you 5 minutes to disperse.
Yet in Walvis Bay, it has been business as usual since Fabiola's death and the demonstration that followed. We accompanied Isabella to Shoprite to get some answers, but the branch manager who fired Fabiola threatened to call the police on us before shop security arrived to escort us out.
Po mukandu meshete chimatwiko mukandu kupuroshina kena kushina chimadiri omukandu kumatupuka omukandu umakutoneno police odongode matuka hingira rune matuka shuwa rune kushani wahingirire kuna Fabiola matu akupurashani ngandurune twapero bibike bivari bitwa pero kula ko Shoprite shani kumbundo bibike bivari mbi matupe wediro kushani omukandu mashitwabi ngamba katwaro kumunediro odo police da hindo inspector nima ikatara mo Shoprite kushani paka onjere yenu maikutukotoro edhidiro ngamba katwado edhidiro ndi amba matupura shanga ndurune etetwa ihamwa.
Thank you so much for watching the Real News Network, where we lift up the voices, stories, and struggles that you care about most. And we need your help to keep doing this work. So please tap your screen now, subscribe, and donate to the Real News Network. Solidarity forever.